It's our end of the year wrap up of the cars that we liked the most and the least. Next on Talking Cars. Hi everybody and welcome to Talking Cars with Consumer Reports. Sitting in for Tom Mutzler, I'm John Lincote.
I'm Mike Monticello.
I'm Michelle Naranjo.
I'm Gabe Schenhar.
Well, it's the end of the year. We've had 67 test cars through our program this calendar year, and it's really almost the best show of the year because we're able to talk about what we like best and worst from our test program. So I've gathered 4 people here, so different opinions. We can, kind of nail it out, nitty gritty, find out what vehicles we like. Duke it out, exactly. And it's not something that we have to have that has to mirror our test reports. Certainly our testing is a compilation of all of our data, our in-car, our subjective, our objective. But you know what? If you have opinions that matter, stand out. We'll tell everybody out here what we liked about the vehicles. And I also have some information from the staff as well. So, a little fill in some data there. So why don't we start with Mike right here. What was your favorite car of our test program this year?
Well, I'm going to give a 3-pronged answer, if I'm allowed to.
Okay, sure.
As far as just like a car to drive every day, the Audi A4 really stood out for me.
Certainly.
It has almost nothing wrong with it. It's got a smooth, strong engine.
The 2-liter turbo.
Yeah, 2-liter turbo. Has a dual clutch transmission that doesn't have the low-speed issues of most dual clutch transmissions or many dual clutch transmissions.
Right, like a herky-jerky.
Exactly.
Motion, right?
And it shifts crisply. The handling's really great, and yet it's has a really comfortable ride. It's very quiet inside, so there's just...
It's pretty roomy as well. I mean, it's grown over the years.
It's just does everything right. But that's a car to drive every day. But I'm more into cars that excite me. And so we also had a 718 Boxster.
Right.
And
the Porsche 718 Boxster.
Right, the Porsche 718 Boxster, and that has, the new turbo 4-cylinder, and the question is, was that going to ruin the car?
Right,
and
so the fill-in, it replaced the 6 cylinders,
right.
The flat, horizontally opposed
So this is
sixes.
a flat 4
right.
turbo, and we got the base model with the 2-liter, and it still is a Boxster. It still handles like a Boxster. It's really fast. So it didn't ruin the car like I think some people maybe thought it would.
It sounds good.
It doesn't sound great at idle, but it sounds good once you really get into it. You got to drive the car hard.
Right.
But the handling is still fantastic.
I'm guessing that's going to appear on other lists throughout. So what was your last one that you loved?
The car that really excites me, the car that when I know I'm going to drive it for the night, that I'm really excited about going to drive it, was the Chevy Camaro Ss. And
so 3 sporty cars.
Yeah.
You cried
the A4 at least was a
when
stamp.
we were about to sell that car, right?
No, I begged the office manager not to sell that car.
To find a reason that we had to keep testing it,
Right.
or you're going to buy it?
No, I just want to keep driving it.
What about it?
Well, so what about it is, it's a 6.2-liter V8, 455 horsepower, 6-speed manual that works really well, and sharp steering, really good handling. It's not just a straight line
Especially with a
muscle
magnetic
car.
ride.
Right. We have the optional magnetic suspension. And so, yes, it handles great, but it doesn't beat you up as much as you might think it would. It's a car you can...
It's a modern-day muscle car in
Exactly.
every sense of the way.
And I know it's got some faults. It's still difficult to see. It's the new Camaro, but it still looks like the old one. It's still difficult to see out of.
Right.
There's hardly any interior storage.
It's claustrophobic.
The rear seat is tiny. And we had the turbo 4-cylinder. We rented a turbo 4-cylinder for a little while. And I noticed all these faults in the car. The dash has this weird, it's like weirdly high right here, right? And
high cowl, and then also the infotainment screen,
it's like way up here. And so I noticed all these things, and where am I supposed to put my cell phone, and where am I supposed to put that? When I'm in the SS, I never think about any of those things because...
So the engine and everything kind of overwhelms and takes away the negatives from you.
Exactly, because it sounds so great, it's so fast. They say you look forward to going just to get some groceries in it. Yes, this is a car that you can, every time you're going to drive, you're like, oh, I can't wait to get back in that thing.
Okay, so 2 dedicated sports cars and a sports sedan. Mm-hmm. Michelle, what about your choices?
I bet you guys all think I'm going to say Chevy Spark, but I'm not.
The Sparky Chev is what you're going to say.
I love the Boxster as well.
Okay.
I do tend to be a small car person, but the car I think that surprised me the most that I enjoyed was the Ct-6.
So wait, what about the Boxster? Beside anything that Mike didn't say, what was that
No, I think
stood
he
out for
covered
you?
it. I don't think we agree on the
welcome.
Camaro.
You're welcome.
Thank you. We don't necessarily agree on the Camaro, but I think on the Boxster we do.
Okay.
So Ct-6 just really surprised me. It's
In
beautiful.
what
It
ways?
handles well. It's not.
It's the Cadillac Ct-6.
Right.
Their current flagship sedan, their
Right.
large sedan.
It's large, but it's not terribly large.
Right, not like a BMW 7 Series Audi A8 size.
Right.
Doesn't drive large.
No, it doesn't.
Very true. Very true. And again, what about that? Just
It has a lot of really neat things going on. Like I love that I can charge my phone by just laying it in the center console.
okay. So it's the QI charger that you
Yes.
can just plop it in. So that's an Android thing, though. You have to
Right.
get a case for Apple phones, right?
But it's not an overly complicated car. For example, the E300, I get in, and there's so much going on inside.
That's
that,
the Mercedes-Benz
yes,
E-Class, right? Right.
I don't. It's just too much, and I like the simplicity of the Ct6. It's fun to drive. It's beautiful. It's comfortable.
It's a great cruising car. I think we'd all agree on.
It's
on
got
that.
a really nice engine. It's very comfortable to drive. Has a really nice suspension, and yet it still handles pretty well. It drives smaller than it is. And,
Yeah.
you know, that's not something you could always say about big Cadillacs back in the day.
Well, I think one of the things that we've said a lot recently is that Cadillac has gotten their sedans right. It's the SUVs where
Yeah,
they've fallen
right.
down, whether
Right.
it's the SRX or it's the Escalade. So
And the SUVs are the ones that sell, and the sedans aren't.
exactly. That's,
Unfortunately.
So are there any other choices for you, Michelle?
Let's see. I do love the new Alltrack.
The Volkswagen
that Gabe and I are
Golf
going to be
Alltrack.
arguing for all winter.
You bet.
Well, so is that on your list, Gabe, or has that?
It's not on my
fourth or
list,
fifth? Okay.
but Michelle and I will probably fight over this car. No, I'm totally with Mike on the A4. I mean, the A4 is just such a wonderful, well-rounded car. It's quick, it's quiet, it's comfortable. The infotainment is so seamless. I mean, I took that car 2 months ago, drove it out to Ohio. It's a perfect long-distance car. Good fuel economy, excellent seat.
It has roominess almost like the
Totally.
two previous, 2 generations ago A6s. So it's roomy. It's
Yeah.
no longer like a tiny little, subcompact sports sedan. And I had a first generation A4, so I know what the small seats used to be like.
Yeah, no, the car is completely fatigue-free. I mean, we basically did the way back in like one sitting, so 9-hour drive. So really wonderful car. My other choice, with Michelle here on the Cadillac Ct-6. That car is it's large. It has presence. The interior is terrific. I mean, it really feels like something special when you just get into it. There's
even
like
with
a
Q,
wow.
though, because
factor.
you were talking about being simple and easy, but even with the Q infotainment system, no
Well, the Q
problem?
infotainment system, they've kind of simplified it over the years.
And the
There's
touchpad
no
that you
longer, it's not such a maze anymore. There are all kinds of shortcuts you can do with the steering wheel and the
Right.
center cluster, like phone and audio and whatnot. And the car, just like we said before, it doesn't drive like a large car. It's this very Germanic character about it.
As if it pulls itself
it's-
in almost, like, the quicker you
Yeah,
go.
it almost shrinks
Yeah.
around the corners, and it feels very sure-footed, very confidence-inspiring, very enjoyable.
Yeah, no, it's a great sign for Cadillac that
Yeah.
they followed up the CTS with this CT6. We like the ATS, the small one, but it's such a compromise.
Exactly, it's a good interpretation of a large ATS and CTS, and it was really a very formidable competitor. I mean, it scored really well in our tests.
Yep.
And so now I get my one more, right?
You get one more.
My
You get one.
third choice is the Jaguar XF. And yes, the interior doesn't look very impressive. It doesn't come close
I
to
don't
the
know.
Jaguar.
We had some people on the staff that
interior.
said they actually thought it looked modern and they liked the fact that it was so clean.
Yeah.
It wasn't the sitting room
But it's
of
not
the Jaguar as
it's
a
not
whole.
the old school
Right.
Jaguar. Yeah.
Yeah, but there are some misfits in terms of fit and finish, sharp edges, some gimmicks that are there for no
You're
reason.
not selling it. You're not selling how good it is.
But
It's the
if the
driving.
interior was as good or as almost perfect as the handling, the steering, the braking, the car would be terrific. I mean, driving that car, I so thoroughly enjoy driving that car. It has this unique agility to the handling, yet the ride is so supple and controlled.
Sure, there's an excellent balance of ride
And,
handling.
and the powertrain is, I mean, it's not the most refined in terms of sound and being hushed
3-liter
with the
supercharged 6, right?
supercharger. And I just jump into that car every time there's nothing better on the board. And
No
the
wonder
car
why I
is
can
free.
never. No wonder I can make the keys
Never
to
here.
it. You
He's
have
got
it
that
all
long
the time.
commute.
I
too,
put my
so-
name on it, yeah.
That's true. Well, okay, so I've got a couple here. Like the group, I like the A4. I just found it to be, again, like everyone said, roomy, comfortable, refined. Fuel economy is great. It's not a fatiguing car. I was really impressed with the Honda Ridgeline because of just towing, hauling, and utility needs. Drove it with the family out to Cape Cod for a number of hours. Easy. Aside from the rear doors that don't open really wide enough that the kids had a little bit of a struggle getting in, aside from that, great vehicle. Drives like a pilot. You would never know when you're towing behind it. I mean, sure, 5,000 pound tow rating. I understand that. It's not a super trucky truck, but you don't need super trucky truck for 95% of the time for most people. Yes, there's certainly people who are going to tow a ton. But you know what? Pulling a couple snowblowers behind a trailer, no idea that they were back there. It was composed. I really like the Ridgeline.
And the cargo, you can open it up and put your purse in there.
You could the back thing, you know, you could fill that up. You could
No, not
oh, in the center
in
console.
the center console.
Yeah, but
that's
John's
a-
talking about the
I love
the cargo hold in the bed.
In the bed,
It's
great,
lockable. That's really neat. There's a lot of neat things on that.
There's
There's
like
a lot of
very
smart
neat features.
things on that truck. I mean, the dual action tailgate.
Right, you can open like a door or you could drop it down.
Yeah, and it rides like a luxury car. It's quiet.
Yep.
And there's no truck that feels as civilized as the Ridgeline.
When we were driving it around our test track, you, like you said, you really think you're in the pilot. You would never realize there's a pickup bed behind you. You know, you
Right.
just don't even think about it. You
Right.
just think you're in
It's-
basically a car.
You know, aside from the fact that, you know, if you have a lot of goods, you know, you have to, oh, do you need a cap? Do you need a cover to use it on a day-to-day basis if you have 4 people? Fine, but that's a typical pickup truck conundrum.
Exactly.
You know, I think the Ridgeline is something that, finally that it looks more squared off and trucky, more people should take a look at it versus going for some kind of on-sale F-150 or Chevy Silverado. I really impressed with Lincoln MKX this year. I'm not a fan all the time of Ford seats, but these seats are impressive to me. And it drove really nicely, very nice and refined. I've found that I recommend it to a lot of people who consider like a Lexus or, you know, an Lexus RX or other cars in that area. People should take a look at the Lincoln. I mean,
I found myself taking the keys to that quite a lot. I mean, it has really nice 2.7. Ours had the 2.7 liter EcoBoost turbo,
Right,
the
the
V6,
V6.
and it's got plenty of power, nice transmission, really good handling, decent ride, you know, considering the big wheels, and there's good space inside. It just feels luxurious. It feels like it's well made.
Exactly.
And it's just a nice driving vehicle.
all right, so what we'll do is we'll move now to the worst cars that we had, and it could be a big list, but let's try to keep it a little short and sweet. So, Mike, since you let us off,
Why do I always go first?
Oh, you went first with the good stuff. Now,
You let us off, let us down.
Okay. Well, maybe I'll steal some of your picks. So, I mean, for me, the obvious, easy choice would be the Smart Fortwo. Improved over the last version, but still kind of not a great car. I mean, you know, it's loud and it's slow and it has a harsh ride.
right.
And yet,
Small engine mounted in the back.
Yeah, and yet it only gets 36 miles per gallon overall in our testing. For such a tiny car, you'd think it would get a lot better than that. you
And
know?
it's not the cheapest car out there. You know,
No.
you're not paying a
Yeah, if it was 12
subcompact
grand,
price.
you'd be like, okay, fine. You
Right.
know, I'm paying nothing to get a little above nothing.
Right,
You
you
know?
could get better cars in that price
Yeah,
point.
I mean, it's just
But it's $18,000.
yeah,
Exactly.
It's premium fuel.
Fuel on boot to boot.
Yeah, so there's just not a lot of great things about that. But for me, the car that I think maybe surprised me the most that I disliked was the Ford Focus with the 1 liter 3-cylinder turbo.
Okay.
And because that thing, the engine's kind of gruff and gravelly, and it gets the same fuel economy as the 2-liter Focus, 29 miles per gallon.
2-liter 4-cylinder.
And yet it's a lot slower, 0 to 60 in like 11 seconds. And then there's the fact that, okay, the other Focus has the power shift, you know, dual clutch transmission, which is not great. Again, more of that low speed, herky-jerkiness.
right, like the
This
sequential.
right,
Sure.
the 1 liter 3-cylinder turbo, you think, okay, well, it's got a more traditional 6-speed automatic transmission. And it still has some shifting issues as well. It doesn't shift very smoothly. It holds, you know, it takes the revs up really high, maybe to to make do for the fact that the engine doesn't have much
Underpowered.
power. It only has 120
Certainly.
horsepower. So you add all that up, and there's almost no reason. There basically is no reason to get the 1-liter 3-cylinder over the regular 2-liter.
They cost the same.
Yeah. So there's just no. Why would you buy it? There's no reason.
Maybe spreading the engine across the lines, they can get into some more vehicles coming down the road.
Yeah, it's dictated by Europe and Ford's activities in Europe, and just trying to introduce it to the American market. But when it's paired with, it works reasonably well with the Fiesta.
That's what I was going to say. It
with the-
belongs in the Fiesta. I think it just
and
it's
maybe
a,
with
and
a
with the
manual,
manual
transmission.
exactly. The
But-
Focus is a little
Yeah.
bit too much car for it. I think, you know.
Very much. Okay, so Michelle, your two worsts.
My two worst.
Must-nots.
Oh my gosh. Well, I know two of these we actually came in 2015, so they were still here for 2016, but I'm going to count them as one, and that would be the Fiat 500L and the Jeep Renegade, because they were just routinely.
You mean the X?
I mean 500X. They were both sitting in the parking lot all the time. Nobody would take them home.
Even in the winter, when there was snow, they were kind of like second choices for people, right?
Exactly. So those were kind of just a sad example of
But what was it? Was it the transmissions? Was it the space? The
transmission,
noise?
the noise, the ride, the handling, the everything. I mean, the Tonka.
It
The
has a look.
Renegade
It has a look to, like a Tonka truck.
Would make me kind of laugh if I drove it. It's sort of amusing, but yeah.
It's a whimsical vehicle, but again, like I found with many Chrysler products, a lot on the whimsy and not as much on the refinement. You know, I don't care if it has
Right.
little elements from the old Jeeps or a pizza box holder. Like, let's make the car good to begin with and
Right.
throw those in at the end. So
I think my second least favorite is also going to be two cars that I'm going to put in as one. It's going to be the Sentra and the Altima, and
That's
because
6 cars.
Because compared to something
4 cars.
that's gotten as great, like the Cruise, I think the Cruise is just getting better and better all the time.
yeah, and the Cruise is on my short list. Of
The
good
Sentra
ones, so,
and
yeah.
the Altima just don't have anything to offer that stacks up to the Cruise.
Yeah, and those
Rear
are
seat room.
That's true.
but those are two cars that really had a lot going for them, particularly the Altima. I mean, that was such a stellar vehicle for so many years, and it just seems almost phoned in recently. It's just a miss, and we're not really sure where Nissan's focusing on it. So, Gabe, what about your two?
Okay, so my major disappointment recently was with the Volvo S90.
So their new large sedan.
Yes. That car, it seems like it's gotten everything right. It looks great. It's got a nice interior, but it just doesn't have the depth of engineering that you'd expect from a car that costs $60,000.
Well, it's got a supercharged, turbocharged engine, so where they
does,
lacking?
but you know what? The car, the noise that engine makes is just so nasty. It really completely
Are we talking about the F-Pace?
completely undercuts the luxury component of that car. The ride is so stiff and
Right.
jittery that I mean, just I don't understand it. And the infotainment system. I mean, it may look good and may impress your neighbors. And,
Well, you say you have an iPad and
yeah,
a
you have
screen
an iPad,
and such,
and,
right?
I mean, there's so much tapping and there's so many extra steps you have to do for every little thing, like adjusting temperature, changing your radio station, creating your presets. It's a mess.
Just doing something as simple as linking the two, the two climate
two-
climate
yeah,
controls. Just
exactly.
finding a little link up in the top, and
Right.
yeah,
You
it's
have, to
very
spend,
complicated.
you have to spend some serious time with that system to understand it.
Well,
you know what I'm
yeah,
saying? And
you have to
should-
spend some
but you
time
shouldn't
in
have
it.
to.
But, I mean, sitting in your driveway, I don't have time to
Right.
do that.
No, exactly. I
Nobody
totally
does
agree.
that.
Yeah.
So, and that comes from the car company that's associated with safety. So,
Right.
giving you so much distraction and so much reason to get your eyes off the road and hands off the wheel is just not cool.
And it's a vehicle that's good looking, and it has
beautiful.
a beautiful interior. You can really have a nice package inside. And following the XC90, which was a disappointment to us, particularly reliability, Volvo has a lot going for it, the looks department. But right, they're falling short in those qualities: the ride, the handling, noise. That's
Right.
that's a
And
big,
that's the funny thing, because you look inside the car initially, it looks beautiful, and the seats look really comfortable. You think this is going to be just a nice plush car going down the road, and the seats are really comfortable,
Right.
but the ride is not. So you just have these offsetting, things that doesn't make sense with the car. You think it's going to be one way, and it turns out it's another.
doesn't know what it wants to be almost.
Yeah, I didn't find the engine and drivetrain quite as coarse as Gabe thought. I think it could be better, but I don't hate it. But it definitely, the car
I'm the same way.
Needs a lot of improvement.
I don't hate it, and I think a lot of people sit still on the freeways commuting a lot and would never have the opportunity to sort of even want to push it and hear
Well,
that.
it's not a matter of pushing. It's just driving it. And I'm crazy enough to have the longest commute
do
here.
have the craziest
so
commute.
Well,
it's,
well-
yes, so over an hour each way.
You've had a lot of
so
seat
I
time
get a lot
to
of seat time
experience
in
that.
these cars.
So one more for Gabe, and then we'll move on to the final group.
Okay, so yeah, the Cadillac Ct-5. That's
we get the
that's been a
SUV
major disappointment for me. The ride's too stiff. The car somehow, I mean, it has this 3.6 liter V6 with the 8-speed automatic. On paper, it should be wonderful.
Sounds super competitive.
Yeah, but I mean, it seems like there's something that goes through molasses in that car. It just doesn't want to get out of its own way.
Yeah, there's
It's
no
so
gusto to
frustrating.
it,
There's
right.
just no urge there, and the ride is way too stiff. There are some things that are really cheap there, like no 4-way lumbar support in the seat.
Yeah, it's a $50,000
Yeah, it's
vehicle.
a $52,000
right. Exactly.
vehicle. And the shifter, that shifter is just impossible. It's so frustrating.
So it's
it
sort of
has
like a
this,
reverse J.
It's hard.
Yeah,
You
it
got to
has
go
this-
like this up into reverse, right?
Exactly.
And
Getting
squeeze a
into
button and
reverse.
then-
It's
has-
not intuitive at all.
Right. It entails this L-shaped motion that's so unnatural. Pressing the button. A lot of times you find yourself like you're looking for a parking, for instance. So you getting that parking spot, you end up fumbling for reverse.
Right.
You're in neutral. You're just blocking all the traffic. It's so annoying.
I think that's when it's at its worst, is when you really need to, say, back up suddenly. You're maybe doing a quick turn to get out of the way or do something, and that's when you're going to screw up trying to find reverse the most, and that's when you need to be able to find it the most, is to get out of a semi-dangerous situation.
I've had that exact same experience. A couple that I've had, the Jaguar F-Pace, like you mentioned before, dissatisfied with that vehicle. The noise, the ride harshness, the visibility, that bothered me a lot. I just didn't get any enjoyment out of that. And again, that price point, there's a lot of other compelling vehicles there. So my other choice is the Chevy Camaro. Not
How dare
happy.
you.
I don't think that power and handling overcomes the poor ergonomics, the visibility, the weirdly canted screen. And I grew up with Corvettes. I like power. I'm not a huge fan of that transmission, though it's better than the manual in the Corvette. Just not there. And just trying to fold 2 children in the back seat's a pain in the neck. So it's using it for what it is. It has 4 seats. That's annoying. It's just they're not outweighed by the power, the handling. It's a great car, and it's a far bigger step away from the previous generation of that Camaro. It's just not for me. So that's going to do it for this episode of Talking Cars. As always, thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time.